very good morning to you, and many thanks for tuning in to the Morning Dew Show here at Dysart TV. It's a beautiful Friday, and many thanks for you tuning in and choosing Dysart TV as your channel of choice. Today is a beautiful day for us, and we'll be taking you through the papers. Later on, Kevin will be coming with guests. Do you have guests?
Yes, I do have some guests who will be joining me in the hotspot segment, and today it really is a hot spot. We will be discussing current affairs and matters arising politically, and I have two aspirants we'll get into the details later on. I do not want to spoil anything, but it really is a segment that you do not want to miss. We will be going through the dailies right now, but do remember that you can get in touch with us through our SMS line, which is 23595, or reach out to us on any one of our social media platforms, that is Facebook or Twitter, on Dysart TV.
Yeah, and later on I'll be joining a mental health activist, and we'll be discussing about mental health. So don't go too far, we have so much lined up for you, but for now, the newspaper review.
I have the Daily Nation today. Mogo has the Standard, which is the first time that I have done the Daily Nation and you have done the Standard.
Sure.
And there are quite some interesting stories on the headlines page, but the biggest one is Ruto Raila fight Uhuru polls bill, which is interesting because now the two main presidential candidates have apparently teamed up against this one bill, and it's the first time that they're on the same side of things. Joining forces, Deputy President William Ruto and ODM leader Raila Odinga have voiced strong opposition to the proposed Elections Amendment Bill 2022, marking a rare closing of ranks between the two presidential hopefuls, a story that continues on page 4, and we will get into the details of that story a little later on.
And that story is also on page 6 of the Standard newspaper, and it says, rivals Ruto Raila unite on bad law. And it states here, in a rare show of unity, bitter political foes, DP Ruto and ODM chief Raila Odinga and allies joined forces to reject state-sponsored bill that seeks to reintroduce manual voter identification and transmission of election results. This is quite interesting, and I hope we can check that later. On the top left of the Standard newspaper, we have yet another tough year for broke universities. That is a story we had checked yesterday of how universities are being termed to have no finances to keep operations running, and government wants to chip in and assist them in finances to assist in operations running, but we don't know. We'll check that story later.
Yes, we will get into the details. And another big headline on the Daily Nation: it wasn't us. Power Farm denies 785 million shillings transfer. Kenya Power has distanced itself from a 785 million excess payment made to Lake Turkana Wind Power, pushing the blame to the Ministry of Energy. MPs yesterday pressed acting Kenya Power CEO Rosemary Oduor to explain why the utility provided an erroneous bank account to the wind farm for wiring of the refund. That is a story that is on the back page. Now, here it is, of the Daily Nation.
And on the somewhere in the middle of the left of the Daily News, the Standard newspaper, the DP in Dubai 6 months after Uganda fiasco, and the story continues on page 8, where it states that Ruto is away in Dubai as Mudavadi Wetangula lead Kenya Kwanza. And from the director of communications for the DP team, who is Emmanuel Telam, he says that Ruto is out of the country on a personal family matter. He visited his daughter in Dubai and will come back on Thursday night and continue with rallies on Friday. Well, I think this is something good for Ruto to take a break on politics. He's done a lot of trips here and there around the country. And for me, I think it's quite tiresome. And having now ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi and Wetangula having to take the lead. You see, before Ruto was one-man game. So if he went, his campaigns goes to a standstill. But now with Mudavadi and Wetangula, even in his absentia, we still see the rallies going on. I think that is a plus for him.
Yes, it is.
And let him take a rest. Every work with more play makes Jack a dull boy. So it's fine. And let's see what will be happening after Friday when he comes back. Because I know he'll come back a charged man.
Yes, he will. But still, on the flip side of that coin, while Ruto may be having some benefits of having Musalia and Wetangula on his team, the flip side of that coin is there is unrest in UDA over Mudavadi's Kenya Kwanza. The political marriage between DP William Ruto and Musalia Mudavadi is on shaky ground due to suspicion and mistrust arising from the ownership of the Kenya Kwanza Alliance, their coalition vehicle for the August 9th polls. A story that continues on page 5, and it is one that we'll be looking into because it's not the first time that the cracks within the coalition have exposed themselves. There was the altercation between Bishop Margaret Wanjiru and Honorable Johnston Sakaja in Nairobi the other day, earlier on this week, that is, and they are both part of Kenya Kwanza, despite them belonging to ANC and UDA. And it is something that we have talked about even on Hotspot, and the question we have been asking is, will these coalitions, will these alliances survive before on the journey to August 9th?
We are definitely going to see pullouts and more people coming in. So I think these alliances are still in their building journey. They just came together, but you see the coalition or the alliances between Musalia and Ruto. However, the political now, or the politicians in them would have different opinions. So I think that is something maybe they could sit down and agree. However, something to note, or why maybe Ruto decided to go to Dubai on maybe a holiday or personal trip, is that he held a record of 135 lies within 30 days in November last year, daily.
Wow.
That is quite much.
That is a lot. Indeed, that is a lot. And just to wrap up the story of UDA and Kenya Kwanza, maybe we can start off with that story of mistrust in the alliance, where it is a story on page 5, and it is titled "Jitters in UDA over Kenya Kwanza coalition name." So basically, Musalia Mudavadi is the one who owns the Kenya Kwanza Alliance, the name, and those in UDA have been very uneasy about the ownership of that name, and some of them have been reminding the deputy president of what happens in politics, where in the last minutes slight disagreements often lead to people walking away, and that could leave him exposed at the time when he needs to be protected the most. The one thing that I found a bit funny was within the story towards the end, there is a statement made by Mathira MP Rigathi Gachagua, while playing down fears of mistrust, said KKA, that is Kenya Kwanza Alliance, has leaders who are honest and straightforward, who cannot shortchange one another. This is in reference to Musalia and Wetangula, who walked out of One Kenya Alliance, right? Politics.
Yeah, and you see, they keep telling us, it's a slogan they have, tuambiane ukweli. So I think they are telling us the truth. However, still on Ruto, before we wrap up that, Ruto always tells State House not to impose Raila on Kenyan voters. That is on page 8 of the Standard newspaper. And people who are aligned with UDA, ANC, and Ford Kenya feel that the president or a government has already a person, or the state already has a person they want to push. And Mudavadi claims that the government was already laying in motion plans to rig the election by sponsoring a bill back to manual voter identification and transmission of results. This is worrying, and I don't think we need to go back to manual election. I don't think personally, and that's my opinion, I don't think we need to go back to manual election. That is wrong, and if there is that plan, we are a step in the wrong direction. I think we should just embrace digital and run with it.
Yes, the digital platform and the digital way of running the elections does have its benefits, namely that it reduces the amount of mistrust that people have in the electoral body, because the results as received are transmitted live and anyone can view them and see how they are changing. But then now with if we go back to the manual way, there will be a slight delay, and that will, open up a lot of questions and a lot of distrust in the electoral body.
And still on that bill, it also says that media can now not air the elections as they used to do live. So that means if we close media out of it, then we can't know what is happening on ground.
Yes.
I don't find that fit at all.
Yes. Well, still on that story, Ruto Raila fight Uhuru Paul's bill. That is a story that is on page 4 of the Daily Nation. And the bill in question, tabled in Parliament on Wednesday, bans live streaming of results and provides for manual identification of voters and transmission of results as opposed to exclusive use of electronic devices. It proposes to repeal the requirement that the polling result forms be made available on an online public portal maintained by the IEBC. And both Honorable Ruto and Honorable Raila have come out strongly against this because they believe that it will interfere with the credibility of the elections.
On the bottom of the Standard newspaper, we have a story which says, "I lost my womb to cancer but came out braver." Pamela was shocked when she was diagnosed with cervical cancer in 2019. After coming to terms with it, she embraced the next step treatment, and now she is championing HPV vaccine for girls. That is a special report on page 14 of the Standard newspaper. But still on cancer, which was the cause of death for Senator Mugo's husband, he was the husband to Beth Mugo, and he succumbed to prostate cancer yesterday. Nicholas, 86, passed on yesterday while undergoing treatment in Nairobi Hospital, and the couple was blessed with 4 children. This is an interesting story, as much as it is sad, because it is a story of winning love. And it really gives me hope that marriage works and people can stick together. As the picture there is Ambassador Nicholas Mugo and his wife Beth Mugo cutting a cake during their 61st wedding anniversary celebration in Nairobi 2019. So at 2022, that is around 63 years of marriage. And it worked. That for me is beautiful. However, we send our condolences to the family of Beth Mugo, and we hope that this Ambassador Nicholas Mugo can really rest in peace.
Yes, and if you do ask people from our generation as to why they do not believe in love, they say that love existed in the days of our parents and our grandparents, and nowadays it is just companionship and tolerance to each other until either the relationship dies or one of you does the same thing. We will continue looking at the dailies, or the stories making your dailies, after this short break. Do remember that you can get in touch with us through the SMS line 23595, or leave us a message on any one of our social media platforms. That is Daisak TV on Facebook or on Twitter, and we will be sure to sample some of your feedback at the end of the program. See you after this short break.